Hello everybody and welcome to Car Confections. Now sitting behind us is the refreshed 2025 Hyundai Tucson, but not any Tucson. This is the hybrid version and a lot of people are buying within this segment. So what we're going to be doing today is actually testing that MPG figure to see if you're actually going to get what the EPA estimates. Let's go ahead and dive in. So like we were saying, this is the updated 2025 Tucson Hybrid. And as a hybrid, of course, it's very important what kind of fuel economy you get out of this vehicle, which is why we're going to take it on this real-world road trip up from our home to Indianapolis, which is about 200 miles, to really give you guys a good taste of that real-world fuel economy to see if it lives up to the EPA estimate. Now, the EPA estimate is going to be 35 MPG combined this year. That's actually down 2 MPG from what it was previously, but we'll see if that's going to be more realistic now because we had trouble obtaining that in the previous model years. Now, this system is powered by a 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, plus the electric hybrid componentry, and it overall makes 231 horsepower. The big thing, though, about the Hyundai hybrid systems is that they have conventional automatic transmissions, not a CVT, so this has a 6-speed automatic. And now we're at the gas station to get the initial fill up. Of course, obviously, that is the first step. And then once we get to our destination and 200 miles from now, that's where we're going to fill up again because we're going to mathematically calculate the actual fuel economy. We're not just going to trust what the vehicle says internally. Now, in terms of actually filling it up, as you can see, you do have a gas cap here, but it has a nice little place to hold right there. This does, of course, use regular unleaded fuel, but I'm going to go ahead and fill it up. All right, guys, so we've just pulled away from the gas station and we are beginning our roughly 200-mile road trip to Indianapolis. So certainly, we're excited to see how this Tucson's fuel economy compares to that EPA estimate. I do want to remind you again, it's 35 city, 35 highway, 35 combined. This is going to be mostly highway driving in this test because we are going to Indianapolis. It's going to be a lot in the interstate, so this is going to be a highway fuel economy test. But really, it shouldn't make too much of a difference, according to the EPA at least. Now, of course, we will be using a couple rules for this test to make it a little bit more, scientific. First and foremost, we'll be driving the speed limit throughout this. Also, you have some different drive modes in this vehicle. The default actually in this model is Eco, so we're just going to leave it in the Eco drive mode. Yeah, additionally, if the vehicle has auto start stop, we will be using that. Of course, it's a hybrid, so essentially it has that built in, so we don't have to worry too much about that. A couple things also worth noting is that we are going to be doing a check-in every 50 miles to see how the car is rating itself. Now, as we said at the very beginning of this video, when we started filling it up, we will be manually checking that at the fuel pump when we go to fill it up once we arrive in Indianapolis, so we can actually see exactly how much fuel the vehicle used mathematically as opposed to just trusting the car. But the car will give us definitely a good estimate every 50 miles so we can see how well it's doing overall. So let's go ahead and get road tripping. All right, guys, so we are 50 miles into our journey, so we are at checkpoint number 1. We're a fourth of the way done. Overall, this has been a very comfortable travel companion so far. No complaints. We'll see how that holds up over the next hours. But let's check in with the fuel economy. So as you can see, we've gone a little over 50 miles. We got a little distracted. We went a little over 50 miles. But our fuel economy is, drum roll please, 33.9 miles per gallon is what the car is sitting at. Now, of course, keep in mind, this is what the car is rating itself at. It's not, official. We will check that mathematically later on, but overall, that's very close to the EPA estimate. And as you can see, the engine's completely off right now. Yep, exactly. So we'll see how it stacks up as time goes on, but so far, so good. We're really quite close to that overall EPA estimate. If you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from our long-term vehicle videos to our side-by-side comparisons, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars.
We're 100 miles into the journey. We are now at checkpoint 2, so we're officially halfway to Indianapolis. And what's our fuel economy looking like? Well, overall fuel economy, we've gone 100.1 miles. 35.7 MPG is what we are looking at. So that is better than what the EPA estimates. 35 is that magic number that we're looking at here. And that is actually a little bit better. I think we've kind of flattened out a little bit on this interstate area, so that's probably allowing the engine to turn off a little bit more, be a little bit less strained. So certainly that's pretty darn good fuel economy overall.
Now, the fuel economy leader in this segment is the Toyota RAV4. Its hybrid model is really, really good. It does actually rate quite a bit higher than this model does. And we're able to achieve that as well. But at the end of the day, how much does a few miles per gallon matter to you? That's going to be up to you and your situation, how many miles you drive on the highway. That, of course, is why we're putting this to the test, to see if you can actually expect that EPA number to be true. As far as just driving in this vehicle, I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. Rides really nice, even on the rough roads we've been going over. The transition between engine and electric power, very seamless. And then we've got the highway drive assist on this model as well, and that just really kind of takes the fatigue out of driving, keeps you nice and centered in the lane, and it's just a really good system overall that actually has this little monitor here to check your face and make sure you're paying attention.
Yeah, we got one more checkpoint to go, so let's drive another 50 miles, see how the fuel economy is going to hold up before we finish our trip. Well, guys, we made it to checkpoint number 3. This is our third and final checkpoint before we get to our destination, which is Indianapolis. Now, as you can see, we certainly have ran into a little bit of weather, which may have contributed to the fuel economy result for this latest one, which, by the way, after traveling 150.2 miles, sitting at 33.6 miles per gallon combined, on the highway. Now, as far as how that, rates, that of course is down from the last checkpoint we did. It's also going to be down a little bit from what the EPA says this vehicle is rated at. However, like I said, we did run into some weather. I think there's a little bit of stronger wind for sure. So that has part to do with it. And Drew made the observation as well that we've kind of cleared out and we're on really flat road surfacing now. So the engine is not really turning off.
Right. Here in Indiana, the road is extremely flat and straight. And as compared to Kentucky, where you kind of go up some hills, but also down some hills where the engine turns off, there's really no good opportunity for the engine to turn off at this speed on a completely flat road.
But, like I said, we got 50 more miles until we get our official number, so let's go ahead and keep trucking along. Well, guys, we just pulled into the gas station and filled it up because we have concluded our trip, and now we are in Indianapolis. And let's go ahead and just summarize about how many miles we drove. We drove 197.1 miles, so it's a pretty extensive road trip, definitely good enough that you get a good sample size of what you can expect from this Tucson Hybrid. What's the car saying fuel economy-wise? Do you want to go ahead and give them the number?
Yeah, so its final determination here is 33.8 miles per gallon, according to the vehicle. A little off of what it says that it can get, but, all in all, pretty close.
Yeah.
1.2 miles per gallon.
Yeah.
We'll see what the manual calculation is.
But, yeah, that's the real thing. We are going to manually calculate how much fuel we used, and, of course, we know how many miles we drove, so we can get you the most accurate number, because sometimes these car-rated figures are not exactly right, so let's go ahead and do that. So it's pretty basic math here, so follow with me. 197.1 miles is how far we went. So 197.1, I have my calculator up here. And then we used 6.29 gallons at the gas station. So 6.29, 197.1 divided by that 6.29. We are sitting at 31.33 miles per gallon is our mathematically calculated fuel economy here in the Tucson Hybrid. Now, it is worth noting that's actually 3.6 miles per gallon worse than what the EPA says this vehicle should be capable of on the highway. So that's just something to keep in mind. We do see that sometimes in our fuel economy test, is that some vehicle brands perform better than what the EPA says. Some perform a little bit worse. In previous Hyundai Tucson testing, we actually did find that it didn't quite get what the EPA was saying. And actually in our week-long sample, we were getting about 34 miles per gallon according to the car. So it looks like it's actually a little bit less than that, unfortunately. Do keep in mind, though, that there are some other rivals out there, such as the Toyota RAV4, that I do think you'd get a little bit better fuel economy in the long haul, so keep that in mind. Also, if you're looking to buy a Hyundai Tucson or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, links are provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. Additionally, we have tons more content on this Tucson Hybrid. We have a daytime review where we go through all the features that this Limited has to offer. We even have a nighttime review as well, so you can see what this vehicle looks like at night. So we'd really encourage you to go ahead and check those videos out if you're looking at buying one of these Tucsons. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. And if you're not already, we'd love to welcome you in by hitting that subscribe button down below. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.